What's up, everybody? Steven Zekieler here. It's time to bring you a new reaction video. But before that, 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed. This means two things. You're either brand new to the channel or returning. And I do hope that this video gets you to hit that subscribe button today. Last year, we didn't hit our goal of 400,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. We almost got there, and we were so close to 100,000 new subscribers in that year. But I still need more people to join and subscribe to get my channel to hit 1 million subscribers. This upcoming year, the new goal is 500,000 subscribers, and I need you to hit that subscribe button today so we can hit it this year. I know we can do it. What's up, everybody? Steven Zekieler here, bringing another reaction, and today we're checking out some more game theory on Poppy Playtime. I'm excited because Chapter 4 was released a couple of weeks ago, and all of us have absolutely loved the content that has been given to us. Now, of course, I still may be doing another playthrough of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 at some point. If you guys want to watch my original playthrough, it's up on the channel, of course. I do still plan to upload it over on my second channel. I've been very delayed on that because I've just been so busy. My main channel comes first. My second channel is honestly technically my third priority. And of course, if you guys don't know this, I also do reactions over on OnlyFans for anime reactions and stuff like that I can't upload to YouTube. And so I would consider that my second channel. But my second YouTube channel is like my third channel. So either way, I'm excited to check this out today because I'm wondering how they're going to solve the ending of Poppy Playtime. Because that's what the title says. Poppy Playtime will end sooner than you think. Now, if you guys hear anything in the background, I would have gotten this actually out on the day of release, but there was like a kid's birthday party right next to my house. Way noisier than it was, like, when this video dropped and I had the opportunity to record and maybe upload this, it was just not worth recording. You guys would hear constant kids screaming. You might still hear it. They're still having a party over there, but it's not as bad as it was earlier. So I'm dropping this on Sunday, and if you guys haven't seen this video yourself, the link will be down below. Like and subscribe. Like always, Game Theory always makes some good content. Either way, let's see how they solved Poppy Playtime.
I have solved the ending of Poppy Playtime. Chapter 4 may have only been released a few weeks ago, but hidden beneath its gruesome and glitchy surface are a
so fucking glitchy.
few small details that not only tell us where Chapter 5 is heading, but how this entire franchise is going.
And I think it's been confirmed Chapter 5 is the last chapter that will be for Poppy Playtime.
Going to end. Spoiler alert, this ending is not a happy one.
Nope, because I already said this. If you guys aren't aware, haven't seen it, I've talked about this in my playthrough. I've talked about this in some of the things I've reacted to when it comes to Poppy Playtime. Before they tackle it, I wonder if it's going to be the same theory. Now, this is what I've said. They've talked about the prototype having these children all this time. They've been there for 10 years. They were not able to leave. They have to be in some type of stasis where they're asleep. To have them under his control, but at the same time 10 years of being in a coma-like state and or whatnot, they're now adults by some of them could be adults by now, and he probably had hundreds of these kids. There's no saving them. I feel like there's not going to be any saving. It's literally going to end with everybody and everything in the Poppy Playtime factory being destroyed, dying, and ending it all. That's kind of the route that Poppy wants, and that's the kind of the route that I see this going, because even say if they were able to try to rescue all the children, I'm sorry, but if they were in a vegetated state of like a coma or something, so that the prototype could experiment on them and whatnot, we don't know exactly, or use them, whatnot, that he he needed probably to do that so that basically he could keep them under his control easier, and easier on keeping them alive with giving them minimum amount of food, because they're not really doing anything, they're not moving, they're not doing wasting energy, and food is very scarce in this game for everybody. The characters you meet, the enemies chasing your ass, food is super scarce. To the point where, a good example, Doughy the Dough Man, he ate one of the fucking, he ate Pianosaurus and said he hasn't eaten in weeks. And then we also talked to some of the other, or hear some of the other toys in Safe Haven, and they're talking about not remembering the last time they had something to eat, and their stomachs are just empty, and it hurts, stuff like that. And I feel like that's like at least a couple weeks to a month or so, and we don't know like how long they can last before they have to eat something, before they die of starvation. But also, if kids are in that situation, not able to develop properly, not able to have a good amount of food source, there's no rescuing them. There's no getting them out, especially with how deep we're going into this fucking like cave system and underground, the facility. There's no grabbing these kids and walking them out. It'd be us having to carry them out one at a time, and guess what? They wouldn't be able to walk on their own. They would not be able to do that, because people who've been in comas for months at a time, basically would not be able to walk right away, let alone years. And this is like 10 years. Like, say if they were under like anesthesia, or what, not anesthesia, but a produced coma and all that stuff, because of the prototype preserving them. They, like normal patients and stuff like that, still have to go through months of physical therapy and stuff like that. So realistically, there's no happy ending for this game at all. I don't think so. So let's see if this is the same theory I came up with during my playthrough of Chapter 4.
Hello Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that molds to whatever new lore Poppy throws at us. And there is a lot of that going on in Chapter 4. Mob clearly saw the success of Chapter 3 and said, let's do that again, but more. We've got more characters.
I will say, after thinking about it, and even if I replay it, I still say Chapter 3 is probably the best chapter.
There's more collectibles, and the most important thing, more game-breaking bugs.
I should open with my P coin.
Open!
I'm wealthy, let me in.
Mob Game said, that's a bug if you have your hands full of P coins. Sorry, sad face.
I found the P coin bug.
But while the game...
I found so many bugs. I no joke, I think I got somewhere around 20 times, somewhere around that, during my 7-hour playthrough of Chapter 4.
Gameplay may be broken. How is the game lore doing? This is the 4th installment after all, and that's about the time where the indie horror lore can get a bit wonky, shall we say. Well, I'm happy to report that it seems like Mob is learning from our FNAF frustrations, because this chapter is full of something we theorists crave: clarifying details. Things like, what is Poppy's true identity? Well, it's now confirmed that she is in fact Elliot Ludwig's daughter.
I wish you were here, Dad. When you were running this place, you always knew what to say.
Is Ollie really the prototype? That
Yep.
answer is now a resounding yes.
It was kind of obvious.
Right here, Poppy. For you. I'll always be here.
We called both of those, by the way, but truly, this chapter is stacked.
You can't say you called it when it kind of felt obvious in Chapter 3 that that's where it's probably gonna go.
With answers to questions that we've had for a long time. So much so that this video is going to be the first in what I anticipate will be a 3-part series exploring all of them to figure out what's coming down the Poppy pipeline. So if you don't want to miss all of that, you'd better smash that subscribe button faster than Doughy could smash up Pianosaurus. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So many people were upset that Pianosaurus had no actual screen time in this game.
I'm
He was just here to die and be eaten by Doughy.
Still mad about that. Such wasted potential. But to kick things off, I wanted to focus on one of the biggest questions you can ask about a franchise like this. How is it going to end? We've seen it with other franchises, how they just go on and on and on and on. So it can seem like an impossible task, but thanks to a few very specific, potentially offhanded details, I believe Mob has accidentally given the entire game away. I've spent 2 weeks falling down a rabbit hole that is deeper than Playtime Co. could ever be, and that in itself is a theory for another day. But once I finally landed at the bottom, I realized that we can not only figure out how exactly Chapter 5 is going to end, we can also learn what's going to happen beyond that, regardless of whether Chapter 5 is going to be the final chapter or not. So grab your Omni hands, theorists, because I'm going to show you things that Mob never intended for you to see. If you haven't had a chance to play the latest chapter, here's a quick recap so that we're all on the same page. The game picks up right where we left off at the end of Chapter 3. We head down an elevator shaft with Poppy, who tells us about the allies that we need to find. Upon doing so, we come face to computer with a new experiment. Experiment 1354. Although, while their body may be new, their voice is oh too familiar at this point. Harley Sawyer, the Doctor.
Yep.
The villain that has been teased throughout the entire...
I still feel like that whole segment was kind of a letdown. I feel like he should have had a bigger, like, I don't know, boss fight. I don't know. It was not satisfying to me.
Higher Chapter 4 ARG. He then sends us down into the prison where we encounter Pianosaurus, who, as I've mentioned, dies immediately, thanks to another new experiment, Doughy the Doughman, a creature made from Play-Doh with 3 kids inside of him rather than the usual one. Doughy leads us to a place called Safe Haven, where we reunite with Poppy. She tells us that her plan is to send the whole of Playtime Co. sky high, killing the prototype and every other toy in the facility in the process, while also trying to save the orphans the prototype has hidden in his lab. Doughy is hesitant because he doesn't want to kill all of these poor innocent toys. But regardless, we head out only to be chased down by Yarnaby, Harley's lapdog, who then immediately dies.
Yeah, funny thing is, when my playthrough happened, apparently Yarnaby glitched during the segment where he should be hunting me and I should be doing a puzzle, and he wasn't there, and then he chased me and got burned to a crisp.
I'm beginning to see a pattern here. After many puzzles and an annoying battle with an underwhelming Barbar Chops, we once again come face to screen with Harley, shutting down his systems and putting... That
whole Baba one was interesting at first, confusing, but once you know what you're doing, that's actually really a mundane, like, boss fight.
Putting an end to him once and for all. His final words to us are that we saved no one. But that doesn't matter now. We get to fulfill Poppy's plan and set the explosives to destroy everything. But they don't destroy everything. They only destroy Safe Haven and all the toys inside. In a fit of rage, Doughy transforms into a horrifying salamander thing for some reason, and he tries to kill us, only for us to flip the tables and kill him first. Guys, I think Poppy might have a Marvel villain problem here. Great villains all killed off in the installment they're introduced in? Shame. Anyway, after...
Yeah, I think the character of Doughy was actually really fucking good. I can agree with that. I don't think killing Doughy was probably the smart part, but it's kind of how they always do. Anybody who's on the cover of the chapter usually is dead at the end of the chapter, except for now Huggy Wuggy, because technically we find out that he's not. But ideally, that's what they were setting up, since Doughy's on the cover, Mommy Longlegs on the cover, Catnap's on the cover, and they're all fucking dead.
After defeating Doughy, we find Poppy in the vents, just as the prototype shows up to, quote, take her home. Poppy runs away, leaving Kissy and us behind as the prototype blows up the vents. But instead of killing us, we end up at the entrance to Playtime's lab, the place where the prototype and the orphans dwell. Like I've said, there's a lot going on in this chapter, hence multiple videos. But today's mysteries start in the place we visit the most during our playthrough, Safe Haven. According to a note, this place was designed with blast doors and its own electrical generator in order to keep the Playtime Co. security staff safe should an experiment get out of hand, which I think we can all imagine happened quite a lot. All All of that has
Also, Yarnaby, I feel like should have been a little bit, I don't know, more.
made Safe Haven the perfect spot to hide out from those same monstrous experiments like Yarnaby, Pianosaurus, the Doctor, and the Prototype, alongside our new allies. Now, we all knew we were getting an ally or two in this new chapter. Mob made that very clear on the game's Steam page, and once the Doughy trailer came out, it felt pretty clear who that was going to be. Little did we know the full amount we actually have waiting for us here in Safe Haven. Yes, we have Doughy, Poppy, and Kissy, but this place is full of toys, and none of them are trying to eat my face, which is a nice change of pace, but it
And there's so much lore!
did raise a few questions for me. Up until chapter 4, the only toys we'd seen firsthand were either dead or were looking to make us dead. Even Kissy wanted to snack on us until Poppy stopped her in chapter 3. I mean, I know I look
True.
like a snack, but this is not the time. In fact, Poppy is the only one we've known who wasn't trying to do that. That was part of what made her unique. She was the only experiment to act like a human with no aggressive tendencies, at least not towards us. But now we're being shown that she wasn't the only one. Right at the start of the chapter, we can find journal entries amongst the pile of dead toys for a child called Riley. They're a sweet kid who lost their parents and so ended up at
I remember
Playtime.
this being
After some
brought up
time, they
in
were
one of my other
quote,
videos
chosen
directed to.
by Playtime, which they thought meant getting adopted, but oh no, they won the grand old prize of becoming a living toy. What's interesting though is we get to see entries from after their conversion. Riley struggles to write at first, however, they do eventually figure it out, and with that, we can see that they are fully aware, fully themselves, and not an aggressive monster. Later on, we can find a VHS tape from two guards talking about their various duties.
You know what we get in the East? Toys banging on the walls, crying for their parents. Know what we get in the North? Things. Whatever they aren't people anymore.
The East is lower security, full of toys that are crying for their parents. They are aware of who they are and have memories from their life before, while the North is for the dangerous monsters, the bigger bodies that we faced throughout these chapters. Reports on Pianosaurus and Yarnaby both talk about their lack of cognitive function and animalistic tendencies, so it would make sense that they need to be in a higher security area. But then, what is the difference between them and some of these other, less monstrous experiments? Simple. Time. As time went on, things did somewhat improve. Huggy is a monster, but can at least listen to orders. Kissy is also a monster. She's only not eating us because, like Huggy, she's following orders. Catnap is kinda able to communicate. Mummy is fully functioning, albeit with a bit of a temper towards adults. As time went on, the experiments improved. By the time we get to chapter 4, there are a bunch of toys, including Doughy, Experiment 1322. All of them are starving, and yet they do not look at us as if we are going to be their next meal. It seems like Playtime Co. did figure out a way to keep the orphans' humanity, as well as figuring out how to make them fit into much smaller bodies like Poppy. Something which Harley mentioned during the ARG was a challenging task, leading to Boxy Boo and the larger, bigger bodies in the first place. However, there is one small hole in this line of thinking. If these later and smaller experiments are supposed to be more human-like, why then have we had a bunch of mini Huggies, smiling critters, and nightmare critters, smaller experiments that are implied to have been later in the process, acting like rabid monsters? Was Harley just really bad at his job, failing to keep all these children's brains intact? I don't think so. Was it because while they were doing the experiments, they weren't listening to the chillest beats on the internet? It's entirely possible. While Bob
Oh god, is this gonna be an ad?
exists in this universe, I'm not sure whether the soothing tones of our lo-fi channel Lo-Fi do. If they did, I'm sure these guys would be way calmer.
Okay,
able to
it's
enjoy
a
all the
plug
new
for
music that
another
drops
channel,
every
okay.
single Monday. Alas, they cannot. But you definitely can over on Spotify and Apple Music. Plus, if you're watching a Poppy video, chances are you're into hidden lore, and Lo-Fi has a ton of it, hence the name. Last year, we finished the prologue about a girl named Taylor as she's sucked into a mystery surrounding a missing kid. Because as we all know, all good lore starts with missing kids. But now, Chapter 1 has begun with our chill and study stream, and we've got sleepy time and gamer/coding streams coming up later this year with even more lore. So, if that tickles your theorist
Diet
brain,
theory,
or
I saw
just
that
need some chill vibes while
the
you
soda
work or
can
sleep,
say
you can
that.
check out the link in the description or head over to wherever you stream your music from. But seeing as the Doctor doesn't have this and he's not surgically incompetent, I don't think either of those explain why these new toys are still rabid. Although I am convinced that Harley definitely has something to do with why they're acting like this. I'm sure that while I've been showing clips of Safe Haven, you guys have noticed the wall art all around the place. I mean, it's pretty hard not to, right? The devs were really trying to make sure we noticed it, and so I did my theorist duty and gave it a closer look. A lot of it has the kind of messages we might expect to find. Help us, we will be saved, and a massive mural of Catnap putting the orphans to sleep. But the thing that caught my eye the most was this little side room known in the game files as the memorial room. Inside, we see a bunch of poppies and candles around the place, paying respects to those they've lost, which, according to some of the writing, is around 40 toys. 40 children.
Wow.
And the walls in this room
That I
are
didn't know
also
about.
painted with murals, and those actually give us more insight into this story of death. There are two sides to the drawing. On the left, we have characters highlighted in blue. Some alive, including Kissy Missy, but others are dead. On the other side, we have characters including Boxy Boo and Pianosaurus highlighted in red. These two colors, along with the inclusion of the bigger bodies we know and recognize, is showing us two opposing sides within these toy factions. Blue is the side of good, the side of Safe Haven, while red is the side of evil, the side of the Doctor, and thanks to a special VHS tape, the side of our favorite villain, the Prototype.
Well, the only thing about that idea, for me personally, is I think Mommy Longlegs would be more neutral. I don't think she would work with the Prototype or the Doctor. These two definitely have were, but this was like she was doing her own thing, but she was still not the greatest. She was killing other toys. She was eating and doing stuff, but I don't think she was doing it for the Prototype or for the Doctor or anything like that. She was just doing her own thing.
Thanks to a special VHS tape, the side of our favorite villain, the Prototype.
You know I'm still your best shot at cracking that secret. A sound observation.
Yes, you have made yourself useful.
There is a literal war going on between these two factions, and the good, non-rabid toys are losing. But there is one more side in all of this, one that they believe is going to even the odds and help them win. The one character they've highlighted in white, surrounded by phrases like, "We need you, Poppy." We've talked in previous theories about the amount of religious symbolism in Poppy Playtime, with Catnap's worshipping of the Prototype and the Doctor's poem in the ARG reflecting Psalm 23. And this is another example of that. While red and blue are typically ways of showing opposing sides, white represents something pure, something holy. Like Poppy was supposed to be the savior to these toys. She was the perfect toy, the daughter of Elliot Ludwig.
Okay.
Surely she could do something to help them, but she didn't. She ran away. And because of that, we see those murals of Poppy crossed out. Outside the memorial room is another drawing of Poppy crossed out with questions like, "Where are you?" But the biggest thing
I
we
did see that
are
one.
the words, "She left us." If you go and listen to the toys around Safe Haven, many of them talk about whether they should trust Poppy. Why would this time be different?
Can we really trust her this time?
Poppy has left them all with a feeling of betrayal and hurt. This is where the Doctor comes back into the picture. There's a note you can find called the propaganda flyer, and it reads as follows, quote, "Poppy leads you to the grave. You fight not to survive, but to die. See where this has gotten you. It's not too late to change your mind. Join us, and we will spare your lives. You have 24 hours.
It is kind of true. Poppy's intentions and plans are now basically out in the open after Chapter 4, that she just wants to end everything. End the research. Destroy all files. Destroy any discovering or understanding of how and what these creatures are as the toys are living embodiments of prior kids and stuff like that, and or others. She just doesn't want this to happen ever again. So in wanting to do that, which means they are fighting to basically die. They're fighting the evil side, wants to live, at the same time wants to thrive, I guess, by eating each other and other things, and having everything under their control. But they're still alive. They want everyone to still live. But either life sucks. And honestly, the choice is definitely a dark one. In the route that they're going, I just feel like the route or the ending is just going to be everyone dies. I really feel like that.
We will not make this offer again. This sentiment about Poppy being trouble we saw shared by Harley Sawyer during the Chapter 4 ARG. In one of the many email exchanges, he claimed that her path leads to ruin. Plus, this new note is located just outside the Doctor's territory, which makes it seem like this is coming directly from him. He is seeing the weakness in the group left behind by Poppy, and so he is trying to exploit that weakness. This is why I believe we're seeing so many of these smaller, newer toys appear rabid. They were starving, losing the fight. Their savior had left them, and so they were in need of a new one. Prototype was willing to step in and fill those tiny doll-sized shoes. He gave them a clear option: turn their back on Safe Haven, give in to their base instincts, and lose whatever humanity they had left. Just like how Kissy stopped trying to eat us because Poppy told her not to, these toys are now trying to eat us because the prototype told them they could. Eating their fellow toys and other human remains may seem gross at first, but when it's that, or dying of starvation, or worse, the choice is sadly pretty obvious. And then, if they held out for long enough, maybe, just maybe, the prototype would save them. Honestly, I kinda don't blame the toys for making that choice. I've always been suspicious of Poppy, as longtime viewers of the channel will know at this point. And right at the end of the chapter, she proved me right. She ran away again when things got tough, leaving us to die. She made—
Well, I will say for Poppy, she's technically still a child, and this is a lot of stress on her.
not have run to help the prototype like I predicted, at least not yet, but she's definitely hiding something.
How much do you know?
When your supposed savior acts like that, of course the opposing deity becomes quite appealing. And the prototype does actually follow through on their threat, blowing up Safe Haven at the end of the chapter, killing anyone left that opposed him. But that doesn't mean that those who switched sides are safe either. This chapter also makes it abundantly clear that
it's still going to be a eat or be eaten world, because eventually they're going to turn on each other.
he is as much of a liar as Poppy is.
I thought we were gonna leave. Prototype says we can't leave. Not now, not ever.
Just like we saw in the CG5 song from Chapter 3, the prototype promised freedom to these toys. That's what they thought the Hour of Joy was, but it wasn't. He was just lying to achieve his own goals. Him getting the toys to leave Safe Haven and join his side, it's the exact same thing. And he'll betray them just like he betrayed Poppy, which I guess means it's up to us to step in, be the savior that neither Poppy nor the prototype could be. We will save the orphans that the prototype has trapped down here.
I don't think that's happening. I generally don't think so.
And maybe we'll even be able to save some of the toys who changed sides out of desperation. Here's what I would say if the game hadn't already telegraphed exactly what's going to happen next. See, as I was thinking through this whole Civil War storyline, I went back through some of the dialogue in the game, and I came across this line from Harley before his boss fight.
Do you hear it? I do. A bell. For whom does it all?
This isn't the first time Harley has spoken like this. He's always been a fan of speaking poetic in a greater-than-thou dramatic sort of way. But this time, it's different. It's not just a poetic styled phrase. It's an actual piece of poetry. The phrase, "for whom the bell tolls," comes from the poem "No Man is an Island," published in 1624. It's about how all of humankind is connected, that the loss of one life doesn't just affect that one person. It affects all of us, because we are connected. If one dies, a part of us dies too. So when we hear the bell of death sound, it's pointless to ask who it's for, because at the end of the day, it's for us. This feels fitting given it comes just before our big boss fight with the Doctor, who says he hears the bell and asks who it's ringing for, knowing full well that we are about to put an end to him, but that we should maybe reconsider because his death would be a loss for the whole of mankind. His scientific endeavors, his discoveries will now be lost. However, while this poem is one of the first places the phrase "for whom the bell tolls" was used, it isn't the only time, nor is it the most famous. That honor goes to the book of the same name by Deadpool. Is that you? Oh, no, it's just Ernest Hemingway. My bad. Anyway, this book is about a guy from America called Robert. He goes to Spain to fight in the Spanish Civil War being fought by the Republicans and the Nationalists. He sides with the Republicans, who currently are losing the fight, and so joins them in the mountains where they're hiding away. His main companion throughout this story is a woman who has lost her parents and was, taken advantage of by the opposing side. The Republicans plan to turn the tides of this battle, blow up a bridge. But there's deception from within their own ranks, and because of that, they lose some of the bombs and their way of detonating them. Now, where have I heard this before? Oh, right. It's literally the game we're playing. Our player character is an outsider to this toy war. We side with Dowie and Poppy, who are losing the battle and hiding out in safe haven away from the Doctor and his forces. Our main companion, Poppy, has lost her dad and was lied to and tortured by the Prototype, the leader of the opposing side. Ollie was supposed to be our friend, but it turned out to be the Prototype lying to us, and so we ended up losing the bombs and not igniting the gas as we planned. But let me tell you, theorists, when I first read this, my mouth was almost as agape as a smiling critter. These stories are practically one-to-one, minus one crucial detail: the ending. We are yet to see the ending of Poppy Playtime, and as we end the chapter heading into the Prototype's lair, the labs, it seems like that ending is coming up pretty soon. But For Whom the Bell Tolls does have an ending, and given how closely aligned everything else has been so far, I have a feeling that means Poppy is going to end in a similar way. In the book, Robert decides to go on the final assault of the bridge as planned, just with some minor alterations. Because they lost their main means of detonating the bombs, he's going to have to be right up close in order to set them off. He does manage to do so, but shrapnel hits his comrades, he gets fired upon by the enemy, and he suffers an injury so great he is unable to retreat with his team. He tries to remain awake as long as he can in the hopes that he can maybe shoot down a couple of enemy soldiers to allow his friends to escape, but he knows that his death is inevitable. The bell now tolls for him. At the start of chapter 4, Poppy told us how the red smoke can be ignited and that the bombs were our way of doing that. However, we've now lost our primary means of detonation. The Prototype took the bombs and used them on us instead.
And we have a flare gun finger.
I've taken the liberty of retrieving those explosives from the Foundation. Thanks for collecting those, by the way.
But that doesn't mean we're out of options. In chapter 3, Catnap was spewing the same red gas, and with one shot from our electrified grab pack hand, he too burst into flames. You may be able to see where I'm going with this. Much like in the book, our main character is going to fulfill their promise to Poppy and blow up Playtime Co. using the red smoke. We're just gonna have to be close enough to use our grab pack hand to do it, sacrificing ourselves so that Poppy and
I completely agree, and I already had assumed the character we're playing was going to die at the end of chapter 5. Yep.
and the orphans can escape. Only that isn't actually how the story ends. I mean, it is, the book's ending is purposely left ambiguous, but the story the book is based on, the real-life history, that continues on. I mentioned earlier that this book is based on the Spanish Civil War, which ended in 1939. And if Poppy Playtime is following that history, our heroic sacrifice may be for nothing. Despite the good fight put up by the Republicans, ultimately it was the Nationalists that won the war, with the leader of the movement, Francisco Franco, not only surviving the entire war, but going on to lead the country until 1975, 36 years after the war ended. We may put up a good fight. We may even be able to destroy Playtime Co. like Robert destroys the bridge, but I believe that ultimately we'll be shown that Poppy is once again misinformed. The prototype won't be stopped by a simple explosion, and in the end, while we may die and we may save the orphans, the prototype will survive alive and continue with their plans for this world. What
And that could lead to another sequel of Poppy Playtime!
are those plans exactly? Well, that's what I plan on exploring in one of our future theories. So again, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and in the meantime, friends, remember, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching.
Whoa.
Alright. No, wait, what? World premiere?
Oh.
Oh, alright. Either way, hope you guys enjoy this reaction. This was awesome. I agree with the theory. There's a lot of points. I didn't expect there to be a connection between that and the movie / book series or book that they told us about that's also based off of the real life stuff. That's interesting. But overall, I'm looking forward to more. I hope we can see more theories from them in the future. Maybe they discover more. Maybe things are added, especially with the fact that I think as right now, Chapter 4 has had 4 updates to fix all the bugs. Maybe more. But either way, hopefully they do add more or fix things to the point where I will eventually play it again. And if you guys are interested in that, look out for the live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. There's always new videos every day. I try to always guarantee you guys, no matter what, 1 video. But I strive for 2 videos every day. And sometimes even a 3rd. Like today, honestly, this might have been a 3rd video if it wasn't for the kids having a party literally right next to my house. And so, yeah, there was that. And it was too noisy to record. And if you guys didn't see yesterday's videos, go check those one out. One of them was a Poppy Playtime animation that was a what-if scenario of Chapter 5 stuff. So go check out that. And if you guys have other suggestions similar to this, what we just watched, Poppy Playtime related or animation at all, and you guys want to react to it, let me know down below in the comments, post your extra idea section on my Discord, and I'll see you guys next time. Till then, later!
There's a name that shines bright, bringing joy to the night. Steven's killer, he's the king of the screen. With his epic playthroughs, he ranks as a meme. Laughing out loud as we watch him explore. From horror to laughter, we can't help but want more. With a heart full of passion, he shares his delight. Steven's killer, take us on another one.